Sir.
Vulture.
Is that guy's voice?
You're a vulture.
That's the voice coverage on Lol and his chap one.
Oh, yeah.
Sir.
Too far, guys. Too far.
At least.
Too far. Too soon.
Episode 22, part 2 of Kenya's premier sports video podcast, the 3 Quarters podcast. So if you have a hard time saying that, as always, you can say 3QP. Today being the last day of April in the year of our Lord 2017, we are coming to you from the confines of Kilimani. And first, we want to thank our hosts for giving us this opportunity to shoot episode 22. We start by thanking the fans, our followers, the viewers, the subscribers. We don't take it for granted that you guys take approximately 30 minutes in your week to watch each and every episode of the 3 Quarters podcast. And on behalf of the 3 Quarters podcast, all you can say ni shukran na asanteni sana. With every day passing, the Rugby World Cup in Japan in 2019 draws closer, and we can only emphasize on the Road to Japan hashtag. The Kenya Simbas are about to start their World Cup qualifiers. They start with a test against Germany, then take on Uganda, Tunisia, and Senegal in Nairobi before going to play Zimbabwe away and wrapping up with a game against Namibia in Windhoek. Therefore, jump onto the Road to Japan hashtag to support these boys, because these boys are indeed the superstars of rugby in Kenya. This is Ngashi, official noisemaker.
Jerengus, Kenyana.
And we get into part 2 of the 3 Quarters podcast. Since there were no games this past week, we won't have, of course, bad game of the week, unless you're talking about bad game on a disco.
What's your bad man? It's Lodrento. Someone knows.
But anyway, we get into Rugby 101, which is our section where we try to educate our viewers about the game of rugby, whether it's the lingo, whether it's the rules, everything to do with the game of rugby. So we have been on the section for breakdown infringements, and we continue that session of breakdown infringements. Today's topic is hands in the rack. Hands in the rack basically is that, and again, I'll always repeat, breakdown situation. Moment from when a player is tackled to when the rack is formed. So the rack is when you normally see the ball is on the ground, and there are two situations where you see a pile of bodies. It's a mole when it's moving, the ball is not on the ground, or a rack when the ball is on the ground. So when a rack is formed, it is illegal for anyone to try using their hands to gain possession of the ball. You can only use, especially for the opposing team, you can only use your feet. The only two guys who are allowed, and it's normally that delicate situation, is either the tackler or the first person to the rack.
And the tackler has to?
The tackler has to release
the player
before he can contest for the ball. And the first person to the rack. Those are the only guys who can attempt to use their hands. But once the rack is formed, they always say FIFA. There's fishing, then they say FIFA. It's always that's when you use your feet. And the call is normally it's a full penalty. Again, full penalty, and that's when the referee calls hands in the rack. So that's our Rugby 101 topic for today, being 23rd of April 2017, hands in the rack. Some good news for the sake of the sport. Kenya Rugby Union released that couple of teams had bid for the right to host some legs of the National 7 circuit. So the Kenya Rugby Union released the winners, and Homeboys have won the right to host the fourth leg in the 2017 and 2018 National 7 circuit in Upper Matasia in Ngong. And 2019 and 2020, it goes to Western Kenya with Cabras and Western Bulls hosting. What's your thought about that?
That's some lovely news.
Yeah.
We have now at least some new guys hosting this. They had the usual.
Yeah.
Out of Nairobi, we had Mombasa,
Kisumu,
Nakuru, and Nakuru only.
Yeah.
Now we have Western.
Yeah.
And now Homeboys with the new grounds.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's something it's worthwhile. At least tutatoka kidogo Nairobi.
Yes. Yeah. It's a very good move, and it does make you feel good about the game. You can only imagine now the masses who will be coming to watch Homeboys in Ngong. I think about the masses we saw in Cabras when we went to watch Cabras versus Impala. So definitely it's a good thing
for the sport.
For the sport.
Some exposure, yeah?
That's true.
A nice exposure.
Some exposure. Takes us on to our next session or section. Next session is here. But in next section, the Simba focus. We've created this segment just to highlight and focus on the Kenya Rugby 15s team because they are, again, as we have always said, they are about to start their World Cup qualifiers. So I'll come up with the squad. I'll just read the squad real quickly, the one that has been the 36-man squad. So from KCB in the forwards, from KCB we have Moses Amusala, George Asin, Davis Chenge, Peter Karia, Oscar Simiyu, Oliver Mangeni, and Martin Owila. That's from KCB. We have from Impala, Dennis Karani, Simon Muniafu, Eric Kere, and James Kubasu from Impala. We have the only forward from SportPesa Queens, Wilson Kopondo. We have E Mashaje from Machanje, sorry, I beg your pardon, from Mwamba. We have Bramwell Mayaka, Philip Ikambili, Emmanuel Mavala, popularly known as Mongol, and Steve Otieno from Homeboys. We have George Nyambua, or Gijo as you've seen him in a couple of our interviews, from Cabras Sugar. We have Ronnie Monesi, I think he's Ngusale's guy, from Nondescripts. And yes, and Elkins Msonye from Strathmore Leos. In the backs, we have Samson Ntomu and Leo Seje from Impala. We have Biko Adema and Benji Marshall from Nondescript. We have Dennis Muhanji, Patricia Gunda, Isaac Adimo, and David Ambunya from SportPesa Queens. We have Darwin Mukidza, Jacob Oje, and Peter Kilonzo from KCB. We have Tony Onyango and Kelvin Masai from Homeboys. We have Brad Owako from Mwamba and Alex Olaba from Strathmore Leos. Two names that are missing here. Edwin Zachayo from Cabra, both from Cabras. Edwin Zachayo at scrum half, and Nick Baraza at center. First, before we go into details, are you comfortable with this squad?
I am a bit comfortable.
Yeah.
I'd say these guys can get the job done.
Yeah.
I believe they can.
Yeah.
Maybe we will be missing Tall.
Yeah.
Humphrey Kayange.
Yeah.
We're missing him out of injury because of injury.
Yeah.
Reasons, but yeah, it's a solid squad, man. I believe we can do something. We can make something out of it.
I believe they can be able to rack up some points. My only worry is that you've had a solid squad that has been to South Africa for camp, that have gelled, you know, that have been through the tough times when there were no sponsors, and there were the senior guys who are not there. I mean, we talked about it in our special segment earlier on of the Nikulis and Curtis Lilako not being there, but now Edwin Zachayo and Nick Baraza missing. I'm suspecting some shenanigans, to be honest.
Okay, but then as you've seen, this team has been changing kidogo.
Yeah.
With Olishe coming back in.
Yes.
Yeah. So probably maybe in the next few days we might just have a different team.
I hope it's going to be a different team because I don't
and have a Chayo back. Maybe Lyle a little bit.
I don't know. Unconfirmed reports is that there was a camp that happened the day after the game for Cabras, the final. And of course, Edwin Zachayo and Nick Baraza were involved in that game. Yeah. And therefore they didn't make it for camp. What even shocks me more, I hear from Bartok, is that they were not even informed of the camp.
They had no idea
about no idea of the camp. Then they proceeded to be dropped. How true it is, again, we say it's unconfirmed reports. But if indeed that's the case, there's so many shenanigans happening in the Kenya 15s camp. And these boys just need to focus on pushing ball.
Instead of this politics that is happening.
Instead of this yasa that's happening. So we only pray that it's not right. We only pray that these are rumors.
Yeah, because these guys, if this comes out to be true, it cost us a World Cup position.
It can cost us a World Cup position. And anyway, we'll lament for too long. But we only hope, our message is that we only hope that these are not shenanigans. That maybe they're injured. I hope they're injured. Because if not, this is not right.
I'd say also, I think CP, I really thought he'd get a nod. CP Cyprian Kuto.
Yeah.
I thought he'd get a nod. To wing.
Yeah.
But well.
Anyway, we hope that this. I mean, it's a long season. There are about 5-6 games. Actually, 7 games they're playing. So we hope maybe there are going to be some changes. We just wait and see. All we can do, yes, I do think it's a squad that can get the job done. And from the Three Quarters podcast to the Kenya Simbas, we wish you all the best in the international season. We go to the next topic, which is Super Rugby, Week 10 results. Highlanders smashing the Stormers 57-14. We had the Chiefs beating the Sunwolves 27-20. We had the Queensland Reds lose to the Waratahs 26-29. I must add that Quade Cooper had a very good game in that game. We had Western Force versus the Lions, the Western Force losing 15-24. We had the Cheetahs being hammered by the Crusaders 21-48. We had the Kings hammering the Rebels 44-3. We had the Jaguares or the Jaguars losing out at home to the Sharks 25-33. And we had the Brumbies lose at home to the Blues, to the Auckland Blues 12-18. As always, we want to tell you guys that we have the 3/4 Fantasy League, Super Rugby Fantasy League. The code and the URL should be running at the bottom of your screen right now. So make a point of joining the 3/4 Fantasy Leagues, Super Rugby Fantasy League, and let's compete. Let's see if this Kalele guy speaking the sidelines in the bus can actually be translated to points on the log.
Kuna mtu anavuta mkia.
Sidi wewe. This has been episode 22, part 2 of Kenya's premier sports video podcast, the 3/4 podcast. As always, we want to thank you guys for following us on Instagram, for liking our Facebook page, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. This is Nashi Official Noisemaker.
Jeringus, Kenyana.
Stay tuned for episode 22, part 3. Cheers, guys.